This is from Sita. Hello. 5 individuals pooled cash to buy an RDP house with no consent from human settlements and no title deed. However, a deed of sale was signed between the seller and the buyers with a lawyer. What is wrong with such sale? Wait, there's more. Is there any risk in this arrangement? I see people saying they bought RDP houses with no title deed, where no title deed exists, saying that they went through lawyers, which they were furnished with a deed of sale by the lawyer and paid 1,200 rand. How legitimate are these transactions?
Sure.
I am all ears.
Wow. Okay. So let's start right at the top, right? Just because there's a purported lawyer involved doesn't make it legitimate. If there is a lawyer involved, or this person claims to be a lawyer and have law offices, please contact the LPC, previously known as the Law Society, and just confirm with them that the person is in fact a practitioner that hasn't been struck off the roll, that is allowed to be trading. Reason for this is because the advice that this lawyer gives you is obviously part of the professional scope. And there are insurances in place that if a lawyer gives you bad advice, that you can actually claim against them from the Fidelity Fund or from professional indemnity insurance. So this is more just kind of a backup plan. It's not to say that because he's registered as a lawyer, then it's 100%, but at least it gives you that kind of coverage where, if this person's not registered, then escape, run away as fast as you can, right? So that's number one, the lawyer aspect, right? So let's take the lawyer aspect out of this, because we're all assuming that this person is giving good advice, but this sounds very strange to me. So first of all, you don't buy land without a title deed. Simple as that. Land in our law in South Africa is registrable land. Yes, there is non-registrable land, but not like this, especially not RDP houses. RDP houses are built to be registered. They're supposed to be giving back and giving people housing. So people buy these. And you need the consent from government in order to be able to obtain these. And there are certain limitations on what you can do with these properties. So a number of years after you initially purchased the property, last time I checked, about 8 years, you're not allowed to dispose or alienate of this property, give it to anyone else. Why? Because this is there to cover housing. So this isn't for property investors to go out, get housing from government, and then go try rent it out or sell it or flip it to people so they can make an extra buck. This is for housing. That's the purpose. So this limitation is there so at least it stays in your name and your family has somewhere to stay. And yes, after a reasonable period of time, you're able to actually sell, right? So now this comes to the second point, is we don't know whether this period of time has actually lapsed or not. But this property should have a title deed. So the reality is that you should be able to find this title deed in the deeds office. You should be able to verify the period of time in order to figure out whether you can actually buy this property or not. I'm already getting taken aback, or I'm already very apprehensive with the notion that there is no title deed, because there has to be a title deed, right? A deed of sale is not proof that you're owner of a property. A deed of sale is a contract that entitles you to enforce transfer. But I've been involved in transactions like this. And what I find is, number one, people don't realize they're not allowed to sell the RDP house. So they sell it anyway. And then the deal can't go through. Or you're buying from someone who potentially bought from somebody else, who was never entitled to buy it to begin with. So this thing's being on-sold over and over, no title deeds in place, simply because the person you're buying from isn't actually the owner of the property. So you need to make 100% sure there is a title deed, there is a deeds office, get a hold of that, double check what the terms are, double check who the owner is, and then, so go to a reputable attorney. Yes, you might need to pay for the service, because if they're not doing the conveyancing, and I mean, this might not even lead to conveyancing. There's a bit of due diligence, but it makes more sense to do it properly. And I mean, I saw over here, it was 1,200 that was being paid. For 1,200, I mean, the due diligence could probably be done. It's a matter of sending someone to the deeds office and pulling a title deed. So 1,200 would actually probably cover a very basic due diligence. And then just the last thing that's worth mentioning, 5 people buying one property, like, guys, be careful. That's a big one as well. You know, just make sure that in between with each other, you know, the systems are in order. You guys know why you're buying it together. You guys have it in the correct structures, because I mean, you buy this and one person dies and there's an issue and the bank wants to recoup the money, or each of you are paying to the bank and one person doesn't pay. What happens then? You do need to address that as well. So just as a side note, that's also a big red flag for me.
Yeah, that was lovely. Thank you, Bruno. I was also concerned. I was like, something doesn't sound right. But you were very diplomatic. I'm glad you got the diplomatic question.
Nice.